Welcome back to the ULCS studios here in Berlin, Germany. We're about to get into game number 2 between Splyce and Vitality. And man, I want to see Vitality actually throwing a few punches because they rolled over last game.
Yeah, the best thing so far in the show was that intro, you know, manual camera sweeping in, because it wasn't that good. It wasn't that good.
It was unfortunate. I mean, Splyce.
Unfortunate?
Unfortunate, yeah. I like to see kills all the time.
Have you been playing solo queue?
Not enough, clearly.
It was unlucky. It was unfortunate. It was just
too much, maybe.
Yeah, no, Vitality, I just want to see them fight back. I want to see just the desire to win. I don't care if you go into a bunch of bad fights because you're trying to at least make something happen, but don't roll over. I understand how it is. Like, you're getting squeezed, and you know the right play right here is probably to do nothing. But if you make that kind of right assessment all the time, you'll never fight back.
Yeah, that's kind of the issue. You almost kind of get trapped by playing it not just too safely, but like making the right call when you have to be safe and then never getting out of that mindset. And yeah, maybe we criticize the draft a lot, but at the same time, like, they had a few good moves early on. They avoided being killed by Trashy. They had a great vision game with the Ivern, and it just seemed to evaporate because Splyce is a team that can out-macro you.
I mean, honestly, they had a decent vision game, but I got told on Twitter, somebody asked me the question, where was the tracker's knife? And I actually was, I'm going to be honest with you guys, I wasn't paying attention to what jungle item he was building, but if he wasn't running the trackers, then that's a severe vision loss, because Ivern is a utility champion that helps you build the vision, and that's also why Hachani was the one face checking for vision all the time, and why it crumbles. Supports, they need some help. Any deep ward from anybody else can actually be the foundation for your vision on the other side of the map. If you have nothing to go on, you have to do it all by yourself, you won't get it done.
Talking about the other side of the map, though, I mean, Trashy, he had a hell of a game for himself. Yes, he was on Rengar, and it was a bit of a slow start, but the constant threat at some point, he was just able to pop on the hunt, and everyone from Vitality was just scattering back to their base. I mean, he really put the fear in him this time, and I think Yamato's got to be pretty happy with this team's performance, despite it being a longer one.
Oh, yeah, they need to kind of polish it up, but it was definitely a solid macro play from Splyce coming out. They had some choices that were wrong or could be better in the early game that could get punished by a better team. And I think that's what we saw versus H2K last week. This was a slightly weaker Splyce than we see today versus a much better opponent. And that is exactly what went down. And they fell behind that way. And then they kind of got left without options, because Splyce still took it pretty slow. They could have ended this game much faster. But that's all nitpicking. In the end, the main flaw in this game was a draft from Vitality.
Absolutely, and we'll have to see if they're going to be able to pick it up again. But for a little bit about Splyce, though, I mean, after a performance like that, you got to be happy if you get an opponent who you can just kind of womp on to take your frustration out. And, you know, they're going to have a schedule up next week. It's going to be a little 50-50. They got Unicorns of Love.
I mean,
I'm not going to pull the punches.
Punching bag?
That's what they acted like last game. I mean, let's be real here. But you know, they've got some opponents coming up. They're going to have to watch their back with. Unicorns is going to be in week number 3. Then they'll also have to face cross map against Fnatic a couple weeks later. I mean, they got to get it cleaner before then.
Especially, and even when you play against the Unicorns, when you're ahead against the Unicorns, they won't do that thing that Vitality just did, where they roll over and just let you take every single turret. The Unicorns, for all the criticism we've had against them in the past, they were the team to fight back and make the creative play. The chaos style.
It might even be a 50-50, but they will take it, and that's
Unicorns
the unpredictability.
Take 30-70s, and that's what you got to do.
They make them work, too.
When you're over 60% behind, the best chance play you have is a 40 or 30% play. That is the reality of it. And if you want to be sad about that, well, then you should play better in the early game and draft better so you don't get put in that position. You can't expect to make 80% plays when you're losing the entirety of the game. That is what being behind means, and that's what Vitality need to get into their heads. They need to start playing more aggressive or proactive.
Absolutely, and we'll see if they're able to mix it up a little in the draft. You can see the coach talking through with the players, hey, here's what we need to do a little different next time. We'll see how it comes to bear. And I think really key is going to be focusing on getting Hachani a comfortable support, because when he was reduced to the Nami, I mean, it was really, really frustrating.
Yeah, it's frustrating, but I don't think you can play Nami much better than he did necessarily, unless you go really aggressive in terms of synergy with your AD carry. Bot lane right now is dictated by matchups. I mean, we saw solo kills yesterday by Ignar, but that's not supposed to happen. It's pretty textbook. When you get a winning pushing matchup, you're going to push and you're going to win that matchup. Like, that's the way the game works right now. 2v2 outplays don't really happen. You can be the best player in the world. You still probably face players that you can't kill anymore because people are just good enough to not die.
Well, let's see if Vitality learned their lesson this time around. Splyce on the blue side. We're going to hop in, hop out really quick. So a misfire on the picks and bans. We'll get back into it in just a sec.
Yeah.
Still got a little more time to think about it.
There's some XDs being spammed in the chat, so something went wrong.
Any Splyce game, there's going to be XDs in the chat. So they're going to hop out and come back in. This is the playful attitude. Splyce is having fun on the big stage, and for their opponents, you got to be feeling the pressure now. Haven't been able to pick up a game, and it's week 2. You really need to at least knock one off.
Yeah. No, that's one of my favorite things by standing on this desk. The closest thing I can get to pro play is watching these guys chat to each other before the game. And nothing has changed over time. It's still a lot of memes, a lot of XDs, a lot of yayas.
The new generation of European talent, of course, Splyce still very young.
Yep.
Trashy being, the most experienced player on that squad. But I mean, this is a bunch of guys that went to Worlds, that learned quite a bit, and they had such a journey in the European LCS over last year, coming in hot as the former and then rebranded Dignitas EU. And they built themselves up over the course of a split. And, their summer was so much more impressive. This is only a couple weeks in. Maybe they really are just shaking the dust off, and we'll start to see them reemerge as that powerhouse.
Yeah, Splyce as an organization must be happy. They had a beautiful trajectory in 2016. You just said it yourself coming in. And then the second half of summer, these guys went 16-2 in terms of game win-loss record. That is just absurd, especially if you look at the context. Coming into summer split 2016, I had them ranked maybe 8th or 9th. I'm continuously being mocked for it still because they were a bad team with no individual player standing out, okay macro, and they made one roster swap. And suddenly they turned that into a team where they had, on the back of their great macro, solid individual performances, especially from Wunder, who was honestly the best top player in Europe at the time, and they made it work.
Yes, they did. See if they do it again. Starting off, picks and bans for real this time. The Zyra's banned away, followed by Camille. Same stuff that we expected from last game.
Yeah, so Splyce opening Zyra ban, it seems to be something more common. I like it as an opener on blue side because it gives you a lot of options. Obviously, Splyce prepared his draft. They won the draft insanely hard, so I don't think they have to change anything.
Yeah, why not? So the LeBlanc's banned away once again. It's the same clockwork for Vitality, and there's the Rise. So same 3 bans for Splyce on their side, 2 supports and a mid laner.
They're going to ban out the Shen. They're going to give them Rengar again because they really value this Jace. Now, Splyce, so this Shen ban is Jace oriented. We have to realize that. It means that Vitality still want to play Jace, but they don't want to play it. They probably want to play it top right now, but not into the Shen. So they want to pick it maybe 3rd instead of early. So Vitality right now, they're fighting. Do we pick Jace already, or do we pick it in the slot that Newtox in and then pinch away Poppy?
That is the question indeed. But also, last time around, they picked Ivern as their second choice. Are they going to go for jungle again here? Maybe put Joke on something like a Rek'Sai? Or are they going to go for like an AD carry or support since all the pinchings happened?
I mean, they should maybe lock the Kha'Zix if they want to play it into the Rengar. But they're definitely going to pick a jungle champion that they want because they don't want to get pinched in jungle second phase. And they want to pick it here early already so they can figure out what's somehow react anyways.
All right, so the Olaf is locked in and they have about 15 more seconds.
I would just pick Varus here
See
if
if
I
the
was
Varus comes out.
Vitality. But that's just me.
Could be the Jace still, but as you said, and I want to play it into the Poppy since it's not removed. Still several more picks. Maybe this time it's about the support. So the Tom Kench is locked up. That's a fairly big front line for Vitality already.
It's also just really good into Rengar. When you see Rengar leap at all times right now, the problem is he just deals a million damage. You can just gobble up the target that he's going for. And it also leaves Hachani with a champion that he can play. Technically, it's double flex. Olaf can go top, Olaf can go jungle, Tom Kench can go top, and Tom Kench can go bot lane, but it's very unlikely.
All right, the Jhin Karma lane locked in for Splyce. Copy and Mickey have got that. And one more pick over to Vitality before the second phase of bans begins.
So this Tom Kench makes it so that Jhin is more valuable. You don't want to play Ashe into Tom Kench because essentially, nor do you want to play Ashe into Olaf because Jhin can stay farther away from the fight for one, and Ashe arrows, I mean, there's already 2 targets you don't want to hit, and all the other targets that you could hit will just get eaten up.
So they pair it with the Varus on the side of Vitality. So we have the Jhin Varus lane that we've seen quite a lot of. I think we have quite a lot of data on that at this point.
The problem is it's not in the direct AD carry matchup, and what the data may give you is always contingent on the support pick. And the problem right now is that Jhin Karma will push in Tom Kench Varus. So we'll need to see the synergy of farming under turret from Steelback and Hachani. So far it's a much better draft, but we still have to face the reality that Vitality, for some reason, left Rengar open.
Yeah, I feel like they can play against this one. Maybe just banking on the fact that Trashy would have another slow start. But, I mean, even though they foiled a couple early gank attempts, he still provided big pressure on that map and talked about getting pushed in by the Jhin and Karma.
So the cool thing here is that all the roles are matched. So it's AD carry for AD carry, support for support, and presumably jungle for jungle, which means that the second ban phase is actually not a pinch anymore because all the roles are picked. You move to banning around away the strong compositional picks or just OP picks right here. terms of Vitality, they're basically saying, we want to play Jace again. We're just going to ban tanks.
Yeah, so they ban away the Maokai like they did last time. The Fiora is also banned. One more for Splyce, or
Should be
for
the
Vitality,
Jace here. I think Splyce should just ban the Jace. After Vitality ban away the Corki, so the strong power pick mid is banned out, because Vitality is either going to pick Jace or Nautilus on this first rotation, I think, on their side. They don't want to give the Corki blind pick to Senkux, because it is a matchup that he can blind pick and still do well on in terms of pressure. Vitality, they want to use their counter pick in the mid lane, ideally, to get the pressure advantage, I would imagine.
All right, there's the Syndra. It's taken away. Hadn't actually seen that one in the previous rotation of picks and bans, and we'll see what the pick is. Oh, are they going to do it? They lock the Katarina. Nukeduck has something to prove.
Switch it up. They completely depart from the Jace, and they say to Splyce, you know what? If you guys want the Jace, take it. What? What? Oh, this is versus mid. This is it's super strong lane counter to Katarina.
That. Splyce has got an answer for everything, and they locked the Nautilus for themselves in last rotation.
Of course they picked a tank, because they're like, I don't care that you play Jason top lane. Your lineup has 0 tanks. You're going to melt anyways. This is peculiar.
Okay. So Vitality might end up picking the Poppy. Okay.
Yeah, good. So that's good.
Wow.
Locking the tank on top lane.
They mixed things up for sure. That is not what I expected to see. But the Katarina versus Mordekaiser. I mean, Senkux, he's been the one playing the Katarina himself, so he clearly knows the counter matchup that he wants to pick, and he does it. The Poppy's locked in now for Cabochard. Oh, this draft took a real interesting turn, didn't it, Crepo?
Yeah, there's so much to talk about here. Let's start with the fact that Katarina was picked early and why it's actually not done that often anymore, because while she snowballs very hard in solo queue, it's hard to achieve that in competitive play, and she actually doesn't have that much pressure in lane. But if you look at Splyce compositionally, what are they fighting her with? Only damage, no CC. So there's no targetable CC to lock this Katarina down, so she could technically dodge the ganks. Now, why is Mordekaiser so good? It is because he will likely have control of the wave, and his 1-2-3 punch is just insanely strong against this Katarina, and he can just burst her and survive somehow. I've heard about this. I've heard whispers and tales about this Mordekaiser, but I've actually never seen this matchup play out.
We're going to get to see it on the big stage. This mid lane matchup got really interesting. And not only that, I think Trashy's role in this too. If he ends up sitting in the mid lane, Nukeduck could have a real bad time. Yamato, smug smile on his face as he shakes hands with Arian walking off stage. This is going to be interesting.
And this is why I love best of 3, because when you smash the first game, you are allowed to take some liberties with the second one. You're like, you know what?
Still don't want to lose games, but
if it fails, you got another game. And worst case, we get to win with Mordekaiser.
That's true. I mean, honestly, they're kind of trying to do this one in style. This is going to be oh so crazy, I feel.
Yeah.
And way earlier than we saw the last time. It was a 41-minute game with 9 kills in total. Yep. This is going to be a very different.
Yeah, this should be bloody, hopefully. I'm just trying to figure out what the mid game is going to look like, because that dictates how you got to play in the early game. If you got to identify who's your kind of key player to play around in the mid game, you got to get that guy ahead in the early. And if you look at the lineup from Vitality, it's a bit of a 1-3-1 setup, where eventually they move this Katarina to a side lane. They almost have 0 wave clear. So again, if Vitality fall behind, God forbid, they're going to need to brute force fights. And that is the one thing they couldn't do last game.
And they didn't even want to. I mean, that was what was so strange, is that they just kept backing off and giving away more of the map. And they're going to get pushed in the bottom this time around. They're probably going to get pushed in mid unless Nukeduck is able to go absolutely ham on this cat.
And they're actually getting slightly pushed into the top lane early on. But that doesn't really matter too much.
Yeah, I mean, it's well, I won't say wet noodle fight, but when you've got Poppy as well, that's going to turn into a whole nother story the later the game goes. See what Vitality are able to get done. Now, stakes are raised here. Vitality's still hunting for the first win. If you think they can do it, head over to LOL Esports, at LOL Esports on Twitter, #VITWin. And of course, we think Splyce are going to take it out with Mordekaiser, #SBYWin. We'll find out. We load up onto the Rift.
I'm getting some TT tours here.
Beautiful view of Summoner's Rift to load up the day.
Have you seen
on the Vitality side?
The rumors of the Blood Moon reskin?
Just a few rumors. I've heard a few, just like this Mordekaiser. All right, Trashy. Keep an eye on him this game for sure if he shows his face in the mid.
Yeah. Thorn Shield start on Senkux with Exhaust. Really just looking to limit the damage and then punish Katarina once she gets into proximity. Starting with the W.
All right, Choco going
so
up.
long that I've either played or seen a Mordekaiser. I know he's not as strong on that 3rd hit anymore, but it still deals a decent amount of damage.
There's all sorts of fun stuff with Mordekaiser too. I mean, he's still got the Ghost Dragon and
Oh yeah,
sorts of fun things he can do later on in the game.
compositionally, if you're Splyce, you're fine going even and playing around Dragon. Because what you're going to do is you're going to take that puppy, move that bad boy into the mid lane, and what the hell is Vitality going to do in terms of clear? They can't fight you 5-on-6 with a Dragon, so that is actually a play for Splyce to make. And they have the... And how do you get an objective? You push the 2 lanes around it and then invade, and they have that too. So that could be a macro play with his wacky comp for Splyce.
Yeah, Wonder's going to walk right into the hammer shot from Cabo Shard. Throws out his buckler. He just doesn't care. He's walking straight for him.
He's lost at this point anyways. Both junglers starting bot side, something we're not used to seeing. It is very strange. I guess Olaf really wants that blue buff early, otherwise his clear is very impeded. The problem for Olaf actually is on this patch, if you get a hard leash from bot lane, you don't drop low enough for your jungle clear. You actually get too much help.
Yeah, that's definitely not great.
Yep.
The lower he is, the faster he can attack. Senkux is going to take the opportunity and ward up the red, so they know that he started this side.
I mean, they know because the bot lane leashed. They're just confirming it. They're checking his pathing. And he doesn't want to take any Raptors because he doesn't know where Olaf's going to be. But both junglers are doing a similar path. Going towards top side. I imagine Tragedy is just going to go maybe contest Scuttle Crab and then turn around. Definitely don't expect him to just go for that early gank top. But bot lane again, as we saw in the first game, is just pushing.
Yeah, it's going to happen. Trashy could try to snowball that one and maybe dive them under the tower. We'll see what happens. Joko is going to be moving.
He's got the counter gank now because he saw the Olaf move. So now he's only going top for the counter gank, it seems.
Might just be able to do it. Okay, Ghost is on for Joko, but they were fighting. Wonder's on the wrong side. He's going to have to flash. See if he can connect up with Trashy here.
It's going to be ugly, Pyra. They don't know that Rengar's in this brush.
No, now they do, and he's going to hop onto Cabo Shard. Wonder has tagged out, but they didn't have the damage. Ugly it was, but no kills.
A bit too far from Wunder. He was pushing up very far while Trashy was actually hitting the Scuttle Crab for some reason. Joko really fast clear into top lane. The wave is being controlled by Cabo Shard, so while it looked very menacing, it's still a good point for Vitality here.
I'll take a look back to this mid lane. Senkux.
Yeah, he's just whacking away.
He's having a great old time, and Nuktuk hasn't really been able to do much but just match him farm for farm, and he's got so much sustain.
Yeah, he's just wiggling his mace. He's like, come on, jump in, pop that dagger. I dare you.
Ooh, wonder how Nuktuk will play off against this one. We'll see. Joko's back up top side to pressure Wonder.
But he was spotted, so this is all happening with information from Splyce.
Yes, indeed. He's going to have a big fat wave of minions pushing in, and he'll be able to pick this up without any trouble. Splyce, they just seem definitely not perturbed by this. And, you know, talk about answers in the pick and ban phase. Well, they've got answers in the early game, too. And Vitality, the game plan for them, want to see what it ends up being. Try to snowball that cat, but if it's locked up, well, what can you do?
Yeah. For Splyce, they're looking just for level 6 on Trash. Rengar is broken in many ways, but he's not the strongest early ganker unless you walk up to a brush where he could potentially be. Senkux right now is just focusing on doing the same thing, pushing, pushing, pushing. Love that they're investing in Vision early. Such a strong ward here, the control ward, because you just feel so bad when you set up a roam. A roam costs about 40 seconds of playtime. Now, Mickey.
Ooh, Hachani's going all in there, and he gets a nom up. Vicky's going to have to flash Exhaust is down. He's not burning it yet. Hail of Arrows. Hachani.
Yeah.
Man, he burned both summoners.
You got to flash, because those stacks, they stay on you, which means if there's another Tongue Lash that comes out, you're going to get stunned. Mickey loses both summoners because he faced in a greedy brush. This is not a mistake. He should be making at this point. He's honestly underestimating Vitality.
Can't afford to get cocky. Vitality, they find an opening to come back in. Nuktuk only level 5 to Senkux as well. Trying to goes in, but he gets no damage on him.
Diving into the matchup a little bit, you saw the mace being kind of lit up from Senkux. That was obviously that third proc right there. That's why Nuktuk was waiting. The second that goes down, Nuktuk can jump in and obviously face way less damage.
Yeah, Splyce. I mean, that's all you need to really see in their first game. They were out farming by quite a large amount, and they just did not give Vitality really any openings at all. And this time around, it could be very different.
It's also indicative of how Splyce are playing on 3 lanes. Because you can be the best farmers on 2 lanes, but you'll never match that amount of CS per minute, obviously, overall. It means that Vitality were playing with no pressure on all 3 lanes, allowing Splyce to farm all of them without getting picked off. Usually when you fall behind, what you do is you sacrifice farm on 1 lane, maybe even a structure, and you try and find kills that lead to momentum. Vitality had no momentum. They were just standing still.
Trashy looking to set some momentum up for himself, and he's still only level 5. He does not have On the Hunt available, and Nuke Duck is not playing too close to the river, so he has no opening. They knew he was there. That was a ward that he cleared out anyways.
Senkix was struggling a lot last week, especially in the terms of the CS department, which led to a pressure loss as well. Right now, he's doing fine. He's getting access to much better picks. Corki is a free farmer champion, even blind. And this Mordekaiser counter-picking Katarina is allowing him to farm very easily. You can spam spells endlessly. You proc really easy. Joker right now is looking to change up from last game. Karma no flash. She could be under pressure here.
There we go. There's a flash to Chani. He's going to look for Mickey X right now. The Flourish does not connect, but they turn their attention. No summoners. Can they finish him off? He noms him up, and they take him down. It's first blood. And they stay alive. Hachani with the gray health. Nuke Duck coming down to try and make more happen. Kabi is saying nope, 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 nope.
Oh, if Nuke Duck can just use this zone, it doesn't matter what he loses mid. If he can just stay around here and lurk and force Splyce to walk backwards, because Trashy's on the top side. Vitality, they're making a big down payment on potentially winning this early game. Really beautiful punish, and this goes back to earlier. Joko would not go for that gank if Mickey still had flash. It would be an absolute waste of his time, because he would drop to 20%, get flashed on, and potentially even die. But because Mickey made that mistake, Vitality, they changed their game plan, and they punish really hard. Look at where Mickey's playing. Like, he's somewhat okay. Flashed on, all he needs is 3 stacks, even though Hachani gets snared. And at that point, Koppe is at risk of diving because Nuke Duck's actually walking down. And that's the difference from last game. These guys are helping each other right now. First turret, first blood go to Vitality. Massive swing.
Yeah, and a nice play from Hachani as well. And the last second he gets his gray health off, so he gets so much of a shield that Kabi can't finish him off even though he's tanking through the turret. Nice play by Joko this game, and it's really justifying out this Olaf pick.
Yeah, and because the lanes are still in very premature kind of stage, Splyce can't rotate either. They need to go back into the long lane. Usually bot lanes want to be protected by a turret at least. They kind of go bot. Look what they did right now with their time. They went bot, pushed out, facing again because they're scared to overstay because they can get run down by an Olaf, potentially a Hachani hitting level 6 later. So they're in a bit of a bind.
It's going to be a long lane now for Splyce to try and deal with for sure. 8 minutes into this game, we have first blood a lot earlier. Trashy is going to get spotted. So things look great in the draft for Splyce, but it was Vitality who struck first in the bottom, and already night and day difference from previous
2
game.
deep wards immediately as well, Pyra. You see right there, Trashy revealed. Hachani is a greedy, somebody though. Relic tier 2 over boots on Tom Kench. I'm not sure. I like what Splyce is doing though. They push bot, and now we know why. They push bot to get the pressure, they base even more items, and they just force the dragon.
Yeah,
this
talking about playing around it. Teleport. Teleport, double teleport.
Way too late.
Yeah, Nuke Duck, oh, he's exhausted right now, and they turn for steal back. He gets nommed up by Hachani. This has turned real messy, and Mickey is burning down. The dragon is up for grabs, but Joko is taken down, and they ghosted at him. Hachani's gonna get melted. Trashy had already taken out Nuke Duck. It's a double kill to the Rengar of all people. Splyce clean house.
Wham, bam, slam. Thank you, ma'am, says Senkux. He's like trying to fight that Baron or the dragon right there. Joko walks in and is like, I'm gonna steal this. Then Joko remembers he's playing versus Mordekaiser, and he gets a triple hit in the face. That was
metal, man.
A really good start from Vitality, but they threw it all away because they're just not used to playing against Mordekaiser.
Ah, what a huge mistake that turned such a huge tide now. Dragon, 3 kills, 2 of them on Trashy, and then they get 1 turret. They might get another. We're not 10 minutes into this game, and they were pushing for mid-tier 2.
Yep, look at that dragon.
Oh.
That's just so annoying to play against.
It's been a while since I've seen this, but I'm getting some flashbacks a couple worlds ago even. Eats it, doesn't like the taste.
You can eat that dragon, unlike the other one, but
there
yeah, man, that is... It looked really good for a moment. Let's watch this again. So why is this good for Vitality? Teleport is at least 3 seconds earlier. They get them in the pit, but Steelback is playing too far up. Hachani is a bit late on the Devour. Nuke Duck just uses full ultimate and didn't kill Mickey because Mickey had exhaust and flash up again. Why is nobody helping Nuke Duck actually get a reset? They're greeting on this dragon because they're tunneling. Guys, we can't give Mordekaiser a dragon. We can't give him dragon. We need to stop them.
Oh man, they knew exactly what was going to happen once they basically just took down Joko.
Yeah, no, once he got slapped in the face with that third proc from Mordekaiser, Vitality was feeling real bad. But the main mistake still is not helping your Katarina get a reset.
And this is the issue we were criticizing Vitality for playing like last week. Still more solo queue-ish. See the Katarina, pick up the Katarina, but they're not playing around it.
Yeah,
and
that's
big punish.
That steal back, honestly, I think you need a target or Nuke in their communication. You need to work together. Like you honestly, guys, you have to work together in a target selection. You can pick any target and blow them up on the side of Splyce.
I mean, we talked about a really risky pick as well, and not just because of the counter availability, but I remember talking to Febivin last week, and he was just saying, look, it's not that hard to play against in competitive, because it is just so hard to snowball compared to solo queue, and people fall into that trap and think, oh, you know, it's going to be great, it's going to be the best, everyone's going to love it, and then it falls flat on its face. Yeah,
because it's a champion where you have, again, it's just like the scrim talk that we talked about in game 1. There's this natural curve that you're used to having on champs and even item buys. It's why it's sometimes hard for newer players to kind of look and build the same way pro players do. Because if you match what they do, you get the items at a much later time because you just simply don't CS that well. This pro player has a BF sword 2 minutes earlier than you. He has an IH 5 minutes earlier than you. He has his 4 items probably 7 to 10 minutes earlier than you because you just simply don't farm well enough. And it's really hard to compare power levels.
You know, Mitch, I know I'm bad, but you don't have to tell me on broadcast. It's okay.
Yeah.
But it's very true. Vitality have just not been able to keep up since that move, and you know the gold has swung, of course, back to Splyce's favor. It is only 1,000, but when you consider the fact that they've got the tower in the mid and pressure in that lane as well as the other 2 lanes, in all honesty, with Nuke having to go up top.
It's a swing, right? They went from 1.7k gold behind to over 1,000 gold ahead right now. That is having a 2.5k gold early game swing is just absolutely massive in terms of not only the gold count in the game, but also the momentum.
Wonder's doing a lot of damage to start things off right now. It may have been Trashy that was getting the kill cleans up, but I mean, Wonder was just sitting in the middle sending Riptides out.
Yeah, it's also what has happened in the laning phase as well. You know, these guys regen a lot of health, and they can obviously just spam their base abilities over and over. This obviously falls off later on.
Sure.
Is why Nautilus doesn't scale that well, because he only has CC in the late game.
Especially compared to Poppy.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, but speaking of Poppy, charges the Rengar in the face, and he's going to have to flash away, but he's got no more. Just the wind-up. Bull is on.
Oh, come on.
And Kitty Cat's out of there.
Trashy's like, I've seen this montage play. You wait for the hammer, you wait for it to come down, you flash, and then this guy's just still spinning. Bit of a outplay there from Cabochard. Flashes, plays around Trashy waiting to jump in perfectly. Cabochard had a W down to cancel Rengar early, and then he just holds the hammer.
Yeah, questioning if Cabochard should be trying to play back on these tanks a little bit more, or if he really should step into the carry. But I mean, he's been taken to the Poppy. He's not having too much trouble this game.
Yeah, we see already the 1-3-1 that we were talking about earlier as well. Vitality have moved this Katarina to a side lane, but Senkux is so comfortable playing here unless he gets ganked. So all Splyce have to do is insert some deep vision, but they can. Because again, they have the mid lane pressure. And that's why this Karma pick is seemingly so important for them, because it always generates them the pressure over Hachani and Steelback. And whenever Hachani and Steelback have been pushed in, Vitality as a team have had inferior vision control. Which means that Splyce always get to know where the jungler is, which means they can push on the side lanes where he isn't, or respect him enough when he's close.
Absolutely. Question now becomes, where are Steelback and Hachani going to focus their attention? It does seem to be in the mid lane trying to match what Kabi and Mickey are doing, but I mean, can they really push back against this much better coordinated Splyce machine as Nuke is getting some help from Joko up top, but they're still firing away on that turret.
They're looking to neutralize the wave Rodder and then use the global from Tahm Kench. That's what you want to do. That's one of the reasons. Not only are they mid because Mickey is here with Kabe, they're also mid because Tahm Kench just plays so well from the mid lane. You walk up slightly to the side and then you look for the Abyssal Voyage to deliver the jungler past the ward line. And that's what they're looking for. But look how far Senkux is playing back right now. He knows that this is a possibility and they can't actually pull the trigger there.
All right. So Hachani is going to be backing away. Yes, once again, Vitality have not been able to find a way in, but another 15 seconds will pass, and would you know it, Trashy's already down there. It might be time for another Ghost Dragon.
Yeah, it's Dragon time. Never ever have we seen two teams convene so intently around the double Cloud Drake, Pyra.
Very true. It's a good thing it was buffed all that time ago. Give themselves a little bit extra movement speed, and that's going to make it easier for Splyce to kind of rotate around this map quicker. Cabo is going to dodge away from the Bola Strike, but
the biggest buff that we could ever give to a Cloud Drake is a Mordekaiser buff, because he will go for that one every time. He doesn't care. He doesn't discriminate.
Vitality, they're not going to discriminate who they're going to catch this time around, forcing Mickey's flash out. Captive audience, the Jin trap gets popped, and now it is actually Vitality that are looking to seal away this dragon. But Splyce, they open up the curtain call right now. Wonder, he's TPing in around the backside. Vitality seem a little hesitant. Cabo is going to knock Trashy into the wall. The chains are on. In comes Nuke Duck, instant exhaust. He's blown up by Kabi, and Splyce now. Can they get this kill? Joko is going to be able to get one more now. He's out of there, but Cabo Shard, he's going to fall. One more shot will do it. It is 2 kills to 1. Splyce out muscle and out maneuver.
Yep, they get the kill. It's a tough pill to swallow there from Vitality.
Thanks for the save, Greffo.
Yeah, I knew you were setting me up for that one. They get lured in again. It's honestly, this dragon is being used as a tool by Splyce. The first time they just go for it because they needed a way back into the game. Now Vitality is so tunneled on denying this dragon that they're again not coordinating their engage. They had TP advantage for over 3 seconds. Wonder, 1 was teleporting late, 2 was teleporting very far away, and he still managed to get a flank off because there was no synergy, no reset, and we can see why this Exhaust Mordekaiser is working out.
Yep, and here's Hachani and Joko. They're going to try to pick up Senkooks on the backside. They might just be able to do it, but look at how much damage he was dishing out. They finally collapse around him. So Splyce get turned on there, but all the same, they still had a turret in their pockets to top the dragon. Let's take a look at this fight again.
Yeah, they overstayed. They did not get an additional turret. Maybe it was a top lane. But again, everybody's looking at this dragon here. Joko is getting poked out by dragon and Jin ultimate. Look at Nuke Duck. He's going for a kill on the Rengar, but instant exhaust, instant heal from Trashy, and all he has to do is die later than Nuke Duck. That is the only purpose for him in this fight. And the Sanctuary stays alive, and the chase potential from his Nautilus, once he flanks in, is obviously massive.
And Cabo Shard lives quite a lot through 4 people sitting on top of him, but doesn't matter. Vitality did manage to secure a turret, however, in the middle of the map. So, at the very least, they get a little bit more gold back in their pockets, but they're still down 3,000. They're still down 2 Cloud Drakes. It's going to be difficult for them to keep going on this one. And, you know, talk about trying to snowball that cat. Well, still playing it solo, and an instant exhaust meant that Nuke Duck could do nothing, really.
And it could be so much different for Nuke Duck, because if he just gets that one reset, that 1k becomes 3k. Oh, so fast.
And he nearly picked up Senkooks, too, on the back of it, because you saw Trashy's health bar going down. You saw Senkooks is going down. Quick flash from him. He's out of there. They let Kabi take over on this Jin, who was in perfect position. So, overall, I mean, just much better fight decisions, as well as Splyce, and they're going to be able to knock down an outer tower up top.
Vitality on the verge of eating another loss here.
There we go. Depth charges up. Joko throws the Ragnarok on, but he can't really do much as the rest of Splyce is here. Hachani! They cut through him, and the Grey Health included. Curtain calls on a Steelback.
Yeah, they're looking to rotate top right now. They've got mid pressure already. Senkooks is prepping that wave.
Trashy gets a little ahead of himself, and Kabi has to walk it long, but hey, you know what? They're still there fast enough.
Yep. Rotation's even faster now.
Well, 2 Cloud Drakes will do that to you, as they're going to be able to take out yet another turret. And Yamato closing the pages of the book right now is he's pretty happy to see his team looking to go 2-0 on the day.
Was that a rodeo Bible?
I don't know what that was supposed to be. I'm sure he'll tell us later. But let's get back into what's important here. Hachani getting caught out. Joko able to run away, but it just doesn't matter.
But again, you see what it's like, right? So the support is trying to ward the first brush he can find in his jungle. Nobody's there to help him. He basically goes on comms and says, guys, I'm being hit. Man down. Immediately, top laner, mid laner, they turn around and start walking to him. They find out he's dead and they walk back to their spot. That's all they do. So it's insanely reactive gameplay from Vitality and zero proactivity. They don't group up. They don't say, guys, let's use Ghost from Joko. Cabo Shard, you flash in. Let's use Abyssal Voyage. This guy. Let's mess him up. Let's get him good. No, that's not what they're doing. They're just playing on the lanes until somebody dies.
Just not finding the answers. All the same. Have had a few more plays than we saw from them last game. They are making decisions, but as you said, it really is only in response to what Splyce is doing, who have been much more action heavy. We're getting close to that 20-minute mark, and it is a 5,000 gold advantage to Splyce, and the map is all theirs. But there are some wards behind them right now.
Yeah, super clean right now, again, from Splyce. But you wouldn't think it when you saw the early game. They lost first bot, first tower. There are very few teams that just bounce back this fast from that deficit. And at this point, I don't know whether it's attributed to Splyce being good or Vitality being less than good.
That might be the case, as Cabo Shard
It's
in a
hammer time.
1v2. It's hammer time again, so he's going to be able to send it back. Another Cloud Drake spawning, so if Splyce pick this one up, they're going to be real hard to catch.
Yeah, and I've actually seen somebody make this point. I don't know who anymore, but it was a caster on a game. When you have 3 Cloud Drakes, it actually becomes a little bit absurd. It's actually insane. I think it was Mark Z on the North American broadcast in a post-game segment where like 1 Cloud Drake, you're like, I wish it was Infernal. 2 Cloud Drakes, you're like, you know what, at least we got 2 Dragons. 3 Cloud Drakes, you're moving fast. You can make picks where other teams are not expecting you to, because everybody has this kind of idea of like, okay, I see a champion this far away from me. I know when he will roughly catch me. It's kind of embedded in you after tons of games. With 3 Cloud Dragons, that entirely changes.
Yeah, and look at how many tools they have to actually catch someone. I mean, Trashy on the hunt, not in combat, moving so quickly. You've got Wonder can throw the anchor out, and I mean, Kabi and Mickey can get in position really easily too. I mean, Vitality, they have to contest this, but they have to be smarter about it.
Yeah, look at Mickey. It's like he has perma ghost on him. It's so funny. Like, if he gets a 3rd Cloud Drake, he's going to be just blitzing through this map.
What did it come to this point, Crepo, that Cloud Drakes were so important? When they
Not
buffed it, I
that
guess.
important. If I could choose, I'd still get 3 Infernals or 3 Mountains.
Yeah.
It's just that when you start multiplying them, they have an interesting like way of looking at it I never really thought about.
Yeah. Well, not to mention, Senkux is going to be pretty happy with just about any dragon. So playing around that side of the map and pretty easy for them to pick it up. It looks like Splyce might be trying to bait Vitality into another fight that they know.
Yeah, it is still the same old kind of Mordekaiser build here. You want the Rylai's Crystal Scepter. It's even better now for Morde because he likes the utility from it. He needs to keep them slow. Doesn't want to funnel too much cost into that item. Really early to spike. Flying from Trashy here, opening up. Ooh,
oh boy,
combo.
Hachani is going to get the eat on, but Joko won't be so lucky. Steal back outside the curtain call range, but it isn't going to matter. Trashy actually having to flash back as Joko on the front line was dishing the damage. They dodged from the flourish, and Nukeduck around the side, looking for an in if he can find it right now. Depth charge onto Steal back. Nukeduck trying for it. Wonder, he's gone in, he takes Joko out right now.
Just do something, Nukeduck!
Kabushard, he's trying to make things happen. Mickey is gonna fall. Nukeduck, no! He's staying alive through it all, and Wonder is even tanking the turret. Finally, Mickey burns down to nothing. The hammer wind up.
Come on!
That was underwhelming, man.
Nukeduck! There's an 80 carry that's on 0 HP. Oh, he can try again.
Okay, Wonder, he's gonna try to make the 1v3 happen, but look at how low he is! He gets hit with the anchor, and Wonder's taking him out of this fight.
He doesn't jump in on half HP carries, but he does jump in on a 40% HP tank. It makes no sense at all, Pyro.
I am utterly confused, Crepo, that's for sure, but it is a 3-for-2 all on the fight, so Splyce have the edge. They're gonna go for this dragon. That was one of the messiest things I've seen today.
Yeah. It was a really good initiation from Splyce. Again, map movements, get them pressure, to get them to double flank.
We're not over. Cabo's coming.
Oh, he's gonna fight this in a dragon here.
Doesn't matter, gonna get smited away by Trashy, but they might be able to take him down. On the back of it, it's gonna be Steel back with a piercing arrow, but he gets pulled in by Wonder. And he's going to go down. A Riptide, shutdown gold to Wonder. Kabushard, Joko, Hachani all trying to make this fight happen, but with the Ghost Dragon, the odds just are not even enough, and Senkux claims another kill.
Such a rash play from Vitality. It feels like everybody on this team has forgotten that Nautilus deals a ton of damage in the early game.
And he's about to do even more.
Wait.
He upgrades his Dark Seal into a Medjai's.
It's like, I got this, guys.
Wonder's having a great game.
Look at me, I'm the AP carry now. Morty, you go utility. But again, there's just mismatched focus from Vitality. They're not syncing it with Nukeduck. They're not making any proactive plays. And they're just leveraging this advantage into a Baron play.
Yeah, Splyce are going to use the Dragon to take the Baron. How many times do you get to see that happen in a professional match? Nukeduck is going to try to pick something up around the side. Joko does not have Ghost, cannot flash into the pit, obviously. Nope. He just throws the axe to see it's going to be happening. Wonder can just tank this up. There's a teleport out of Kabushard, but the Baron, they kind of peeled off it now, and they're not going to be on it. Whoa, there's a curtain call opening up. Nukeduck dodges 1, gets eaten by Hachani for 2. Joko tanking 3, and now Trashy finishes it off. Don't need that 4th shot, and they're right back to Baron. No smite to steal.
Yeah, Senkux may want to pick up that Honey Fruit because he's a tad low. Obviously, he has a lot of Spellbound built in, so he should be fine. Nukeduck's actually at 40%. Not in kill range right here. But yeah, just a massive threat that happens whenever Wonder walks up. They're looking for a lucky steal here. Knocking some guys away. Maybe a Varus Q steal, but it's probably not going to happen.
No, he just sends Wonder flying, and that's okay. Thank you very much, say Splyce, as they pick themselves up. The Baron, it's 12-6 in kills. We're getting close to 25 minutes, and this game is getting out of hand for Vitality.
Right, let's see this again. So it's a good pincer. Joko going low. Kabushard is fighting Nautilus here, so this is essentially a 4v4. Let's look at Nukeduck. He has Flash and Ignite available. I understand he doesn't want to go in here. But when Kobe takes this damage from this Q, Nukeduck should go in. Just flash. Just make something happen. Try it. Even if it fails, go for Trashy. But he goes for Mickey, which is the guy with the exhaust all alone. And look at how low Mickey goes. He dies in the end. Just enough.
And then they go over this fight again. Nukeduck should not be even trying to do this. He thinks he can get a kill off, and then,
yeah,
well,
at this point, it's just trying to catch a loss. You've already lost so much that you're just going for the kill.
At least Steelback got a kill back on the board.
Yeah, Steelback's hitting a lot of his piercing arrows, but why don't they synchronize this together? So you know what? you try and hit a Q on this guy. If it lands, I'm going to jump in. Somebody flash and do an auto. That is a kill reset. That's how you got to play Katarina. Like, if you want to play this champ on the professional stage, you need to figure out your targets faster than your enemies do.
Speaking of fast, all the Splyce were just out-maneuvering and out-moving. Even though Hachani took the Abyssal Voyage in, it was them that were getting caught, and Hachani is taken down. Another curtain call shot claims the life of Joko, and they found Nuke Duck and melt through his health bar. Cabochard saying, where the hell is my team?
Well, they're all dead, Pyra. That's what happened right there. Really good flank again. At this point, Splyce is snowballing with the Baron buff, with the amount of power they've built up, and the 3 Cloud Breaks. They can just make picks so swiftly here. Looking to put the nail in the coffin, and Vitality, they will be leaving today with even more questions than they had coming into the series. Honestly, disappointing performance.
Absolutely, but Splyce had to be oh so happy about how things have gone out. Cabochard whiffs on his keeper's verdict. Wonder might go down, but even the tanks do damage on the side of Splyce right now, and they just cut through the last of the towers. Steelback trying to push off Wonder, the rest of Vitality trying to respond, but this Nexus is going down. Nuke Duck's Ghost is helping out this final push.
He's looking for the resets here. They're going a bit too deep. Mickey's low, has exhaust again.
Not enough. Cabo, he's going to push Mickey out. There's still a tower here. Splyce might have bitten off a bit more than they could chew, but there's still lanes. Waves pushing up in the top, but Cabochard, they've caught him. Wonder, oh, the damage is not enough to finish the job, but Joko's taken out by Trashy. Hachani in the back. They melt through Nuke Duck. They're going to take down Hachani, and there will be no one left but Cabo and Steelback to oppose them. And Splyce, they just don't care with the flourish. A double kill over to Senkux, and it's all Nexus. GG, well played. Splyce, go 2-0.
18 stacks on the Magi's. They still haven't killed the inhibitor. We're still going, guys. It's finally done. Yay.
There we go. Oh, man.
They were playing for KDA. They were trying to get more stacks on the Soul Stealer, which is why it was delayed a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, that's always a good reason, right? God, you know something's gone silly when you got a 409 Nautilus that's got nearly full stacks on his Magi's at the end of the game, and Wonder's not the only one happy about that. All the Splyce, smiles on their faces, maybe some sheepish grins too.
Yeah, but it could be rough. They were down considerable amount, 1.7k early.
Big play from Vitality early on, to be honest.
And they got baited into that Dragon Pit there, Vitality, and that obviously changed everything.
Yeah, yes indeed, and not being able to set up Nuke Duck properly really cost Vitality this game. They were more, not proactive, but they were making plays that just, the plays were not well calculated.
Yeah, no, I like that they were making more plays, but to me, it feels like we were also getting a high five from Trashy there.
Yeah, the air fives.
Nice. I like that I think about the caster sometimes.
It's nice, so consider it, guys.
But we weren't seeing, for me, target selection in the comps. It's really hard to tell. Maybe they did. This is pure conjecture, but it doesn't feel like me that Vitality was calling out teamfight targets. This guy. It feels like everybody was just kind of hitting whatever was closest to him. And then when they did, we saw Steelback very often walk in, get the piercing arrow. He shot it, he killed somebody, but he walked straight into Nautilus, essentially trading his life for whatever target he killed.
Yeah.
So we need more refined team fighting from Vitality.
And Wonder got pretty fed all across the board from it. So, you know, just overall, great performance by Splyce, but there just wasn't enough for Vitality to really do. Now, for more on that 2-0 victory for the Splyce boys, let's send it over to the analyst desk.
Why, thank you, esports fan. Yeah, 2-0 for Splyce.
Esports fan.
Well, that's what he always says.
I guess
he's also an esports fan.
Yeah,
So we're going to focus on picks and bans, and after that, we're going to look a bit deeper into the Mordekaiser, as that was a very big pick in this pick and ban. But I just want to get your opinion on seeing how Vitality let the Rengar through again and deciding to ban out Shen, LeBlanc, and Camille in the first rotation. What did they do differently? What do you think their plan was? And what is your thoughts, and in the end, how good did they do?
Well, when we asked the question at the end of the last game about could they have a worse draft than
they tried.
They
definitely tried.
They certainly tried. So I think in an isolated circumstance, letting the Rengar through is okay. Then they end up picking the Olaf. That's kind of okay. We're like, that's not standard, but we're already not really quite liking it as it is.
You're too nice,
It gets
You're too
worse
nice.
as the draft goes on. Blind picking Katarina. Like, nobody does that.
I mean, that's the thing. You don't really know where to facepalm the hardest with this draft here because, one, obviously leave Rengar open again. You don't have an answer to it. So why do you even leave it open? Just ban the Shen.
Yeah.
Two, your first rotation Olaf. I have not seen a single team in the first 2 weeks of competitive League of Legends in Season 7, first pick and Olaf, or first rotation and Olaf. It is not a contested pick. at all. You can get it much later in the draft. I have no idea why they're picking it, other than they want to see more picks to then maybe counterpick. But they didn't even do that. They didn't even counterpick anything, so that doesn't really make any sense. And then, as you highlighted, Katarina coming in when you're... So I guess in a sense they didn't want like a Jace pick against a... Like they didn't want Wonder to maybe get Jace or some sort of carry, so they were afraid of first picking the tank, but you can play Poppy into Jace just fine. You can also first pick Jace here yourself and then take Katarina last pick anyway.
And that's the thing. A lot of people will go, well, who knew the Mordekaiser was coming? So you wouldn't guarantee it was coming. There's no way Vitality would be like, if we pick Cat, they're going to pick Mord. It's not that stupid in that sense, but the thing about it is, it has been played in solo queue. It's enough that, as you were saying, you could pick the Poppy or the Jace, leave Katarina for last if it fits in the position, you know, play it into something that is less good against it. You could try the Syndra or the Corki if that's what Splyce end up blind picking, which would have been likely. So there's just a lot of questions on why they put that Katarina in that position, because Nukeduck was basically in such a tough position from this draft.
Well, let's break it down then. The Mordekaiser versus Katarina, and the Mordekaiser in the bigger scope of the game. Starting with the lane matchup stress, break it down. Why exactly is Mordekaiser such a nuisance for this Cat?
Well, one of the reasons is, you know, Deficio, you were talking about this a lot because it's a matchup you've seen. When Cat goes in, she has to be in melee range, and that's where Mordekaiser has always excelled. You get the 3 autos, hit him with that 3rd smack, and so much health goes.
Yeah, and also your W obviously is Mordekaiser when you are in melee range. You can put it on a minion. You can very easily hit the Katarina. You can use it to get HP back as well, which is huge because you max it first. So when Katarina finally wants to trade, she can't one-shot you, which means you end up just out-sustaining her, and you get the push priority because, again, you're just standing in the minion wave, boom, 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 and dealing area damage. And there's really nothing Katarina can do to shove it back. And that means you have a free access to push mid and then go to Dragon.
Oh, and you know what's even better than, you know, Katarina not being able to push back is the whole team not being able to push back when you've got a Dragon coming through. And this was what the, you know, Crepo and Pyro were talking about a lot, is Splyce, rightly so, focus the Dragon at the earliest convenience. So as we, you know, look at this fight coming from Splyce and Vitality, Vitality try and pull forward into the pit here. Steelback gets jumped by Trashy. They know that this Dragon is fairly easy to secure, and Joko tries to kill Senkux and tries to get the Dragon at the same time, but Senkux is running exhaust.
Yeah, what I actually think happens here and in the following Dragon fight is Vitality has not played against Mordekaiser in such a long time in a competitive setting that they tunnel too hard on Dragons and stopping Dragons. Taking the fight was correct, but Joko then not actually going for the low HP targets and just charging to that Mordekaiser because he's afraid he's gonna finish the Dragon. There's still 900 HP left, and Trashy was still outside of the pit. He just tunneled too hard. Senkux stepped out of the auto attack range of the Dragon, so he started hitting Nukeduck and Joko instead, and just like one-shots the Olaf, and then obviously picks up the Dragon. Because look at this following fight here. Vitality does not need to focus Dragon at the moment. They get really low. Joko's down to 50% HP from this, so when he actually joins the fight, he's not really able to have much of an impact outside that one little engage, and that means you're not strong enough to actually team fight here. Because you tunnel on the Dragon first.
And then Wonder's just completely full health, walking around, autoing people with that passive, locking them down, the damage comes through, and at this point the game is already done. The second that second Dragon, maybe even the first one, walks mid lane, takes a tower, you're just in the most awful position for Vitality. Like, Steelback was trying to snipe people, but there's just not enough damage one person can do to offset this.
And we thought maybe Vitality later could have could come back just slightly, because Mordekaiser is not the sickest like team fighter specifically, especially if you have some sort of CC to shut him down. But a fight like this where they might have an opening, they're so uncoordinated. Like, Cabochard dives in after Wonder instead of actually diving the backline with Nukeduck. Because if he goes for like copy right here, Nukeduck flashes after as well, and you're Poppy and Katarina versus this AD carry who won't have proper protection, you might actually have a chance of taking him down and then like resetting and jumping around. But then Cabo ends up going after Wonder to help his backline, and then Nukeduck goes in alone. Honestly, Vitality plays solo queue. Yeah. There is no coordination in these two games we have seen. Same almost for last week, where Hachani suddenly is also sitting and hitting the backline of Splyce instead of helping his own AD carry. So Wonder actually managed to kill people because no one peeled anything.
Bad to worse for Vitality. Wonder managed to kill a lot of people and is also our player of the series. Debating Trashy, but when you get Rengar 2 games in a row...
It doesn't count. You can't get it with Rengar. It's too easy.
No, Wonder also did fantastic. Was able to get on those targets and peel and do a great job overall.
Again, he was honestly in a perfect situation. I don't think he's ever played a more like fun Nautilus game where no one seems to want to stop him.
And his Shen was good in game one as well. The
Yeah,
ultimate
very
was
good,
onto
very
the
good.
Rengar with Trashy set up quite a lot. So wonder, last week we were umming and ahhing perhaps about Splyce, whether they were finding form. This is a little bit better out of them at least.
Definitely better, and really, really huge concerns for Vitality now coming into week 2 as well, because they're losing to these teams they're actually supposed to fight against for playoffs, but it looks like Vitality now are not good enough.
Not good enough for now, and Splyce 2-0, and Quickshot is on stage with someone who's going to tell us a bit more about that Mord, Splyce's mid laner.
Thank you very much, Sharks. Yes, I am joined by Senkux. First of all, congratulations on the 2-0. Let's start with the question that's on everybody's mind. Is Mordekaiser the counter to Katarina?
No, Mordekaiser is just super OP. That's why. Mord is pretty good into Katarina. It's like Mord is generally a good champ versus me the matchup, and I played against Mord one trick in Korea when we were bootcamping there, and learned a bit from him.
So is this something that you guys as a team had sort of spoken about, that if Katarina had made it through the draft, you'd be comfortable picking it? Or did you just decide that on stage today?
Nah, we've been talking about it a bit, but it really depends on the whole draft, and this scenario couldn't get any better. So I think if we had to pick Mord in any time, then it would be this game.
Well, it definitely showed 27 odd minutes to finish out game 2. We talked a lot about picks and bans. There's a lot of question marks around Vitality's pick and ban. In game 1, they banned Kha'Zix instead of Rengar. You guys first pick it. Caitlyn Nami in the bottom lane, game 2. Letting the Katarina slide through Rengar as well. What's it like when you're on stage and your opponents have this, let's use the word strategy? How do you react to what Vitality are doing?
I think the first part is just take the OPs, and in this game that was Rengar. They didn't seem to want to ban it. I don't know if they got shocked by UL countering it last week, because it's a bit OP champ. I would say Trashy said as well he was a bit out of shape on the champ because we haven't been playing it for a bit, but in general Rengar is just super OP champ, so I think letting you through in 2 games is way too risky.
Yeah, it definitely showed 2-0. Splyce, you guys bounced back from last week, but we're seeing slow early games again from Splyce. This is something that plagued you all of summer last year. Is it too early to say it's still the same problems in the team?
I don't think you can say from these games, because the first game they had a comm that is very hard to dive through, and they were playing like really, really slow, standing at their towers, just farming with Caitlyn Iron, and it's really impossible for us pretty much to do anything with, like, we need to go around, take the jungle, and just play it really slow as well. And I think the second game, we didn't really play slow at all. Like, we a pretty fast-paced game, and we ended it pretty quickly as well. So I don't think it's the problem anymore. I think in the first week, it could seem like it again because we got really stomped versus H2K. And I think it was just a bit of a bad week.
It was a bad week. It was actually one of the heaviest losses that we've seen in the European LCS in the last sort of year or so. What happened? Was it just nerves on stage again, or being caught off guard?
I think it was a bit of nerves personally, at least. Like, coming into the game, it was the first game. They've already played 1 game. I think in general, our pick and bans, we shaped them up a bit after. It wasn't the greatest, and our gameplay was really sloppy as well. So all these players have said that we were doing really well in scrims. I think that's correct, because we've been playing way better in scrims than we did against H2K. And when we got on stage, it just all like fell apart, and that's why I personally felt a bit bad about how people would see us for the first week.
Yeah, it was unfortunate. Luckily, though, big statement series today, bouncing back 2-0. We're just about to set up with Giants versus Fnatic. Have you had a chance to scrim against them? And what would your prediction be on who's going to win today?
Yeah, I scrimmed against both teams, mostly against Fnatic. I would say Fnatic should win 2-0.
Well, there we go. Confident statement. Senkos, congratulations again on a strong showing today. I'm hoping to see more Mordekaiser from you in the future. As we go to an ad break, reminder, Giants versus Fnatic is setting up on stage. We'll see you in 3.5.
Johnny, this has turned real messy, and Mickey is burning down. The dragon is up for grabs, but Joko is taken down, and they ghosted at him. Hachani's gonna get melted. And Nuke Duck around the side, looking for an in if he can find it right now. Depth charge onto Steelback. Nuke Duck trying for it. Wonder, he's gone and takes Joko out right now. And he's gonna go down. A Riptide, shutdown goal to Wonder. Cabochard, Joko, Hachani all trying to make this fight happen, but with the Ghost Dragon, the odds just are not even enough, and Senkux claims another kill. And Splyce, they just don't care with the flourish, a double kill over to Senkux, and it's all Nexus. GG, well played. Splyce, go 2-0.